Men are generally not okay. Men have a real problem with the modern world because the modern world is, frankly, designed to get rid of them. It's designed to render them superfluous. And that's really inhuman, isn't it? Why are we saying to half of the human race, actually, we don't need you anymore? You're not really something we want to concern ourselves with. So, okay, even if that was the case, don't you think you should have some consideration for what you're creating? Because I can't help but feel that old African proverb, the youth who are not indoctrinated or inducted into the tribe's ways will come back and burn the village down to feel its warmth. I can't help but feel that that's going to be on the horizon. You know, like what if alt hists, the coming incel rebellion? Well, why are people taking that as if it's ridiculous? Because honestly, I just don't see why, if we allow a society to only cater to one of the sexes, that the other sex shouldn't feel like, actually, yeah, why should I carry on with this? And it's actually really terrible and heartbreaking that we've allowed the feminist narrative on men to be the dominant narrative of men in society. So anyway, this is a survey by a group called equimundo.org, and the Times is talking about it. And so I thought we'd just go through it because, honestly, if you are in favour of doing this to one of the sexes, then you are probably the problem. Because, I mean, like, I'm not in favour of women feeling like society is stacked against them. I'm not in favour of women feeling that they can't get what they want out of life. But conversely, I'm not in favour of men feeling that way either. A new survey of 2,000 British men and women aged 18 to 45 revealed that men are at an unprecedented crisis point. They have rejected old ideas about masculinity, and we'll talk about them in a minute. They desperately want to care for their community and aspire to be tender, involved fathers. They despair of being able to fit into seemingly contradictory demands made by their female romantic partners, and society at large, with nearly half considering giving up on love entirely. And this, this is just such... Like, there are so many factors that are playing into this. This fits with the demographic shift towards men and women remaining single. The proportion of Americans aged 25 to 34 living without a spouse and a partner has doubled in 5 decades to 50% for men and 41% for women. I assume the women are dating men older than themselves. In the UK, the Office of National Statistics predicted a 20% rise in single households by 2032, with the steepest surge in the 35 to 44 age bracket. Why are we not able to make relationships? The research goes some way to explaining why men are turning the human species into a species of... Men are turning humans into a species of panda. Are men doing it, though? You say that men want to become fathers, and men want to have relationships. Actually, it seems like a lot of women are doing this, doesn't it? Like, it takes two to tango here, I'm afraid. More men were unwilling to undertake the compromise or self-improvement relationships require. Well, is it that's really interesting. Maybe it's that more men are just prepared to be honest that they're not prepared to do that. Because, I mean, I can't help but notice that concurrent to this, there's this that was published recently on Vice.com. What man-keeping is why women are done with dating. So man-keeping describes the emotional labour women end up doing in heterosexual relationships. It goes beyond remembering birthdays or coordinating social plans. It means being your partner's one-man support system, managing his stress, interpreting his moods, holding his hand through feelings he won't share with anyone else. All of it unpaid, unacknowledged, and often unreciprocated. So just being in a relationship, being a loving girlfriend or wife, that's what apparently women are objecting to. And, I mean, you can say, well, men are unwilling to undertake compromise or self-improvements, but men aren't writing articles like this in Vice.com, are they? Just saying. When faced with the idea I would have to change too much about myself, such as my values or behaviours, to make serious long-term relationship work, 44% of men agreed compared to 33% of women. Sure, but it could well be that the men feel that much higher expectations have been placed on them. And honestly, I'm not sure that these are unrealistic perceptions that men are having. It seems that a lot of women do have unrealistic expectations out of what they should get out of a man, and I think men are just being open and honest about that. A quarter of men bleakly said they believed no one would fall in love with them. Isn't that tragic? Literally. And this, I think, all ties together as to women have been propagandized by the feminist media industry for so long now that actually they all deserve what are called high value men, that the bottom quarter of men just can never find a wife, even from women who are on their own level. These women, for some reason, expect better. And I imagine that dating apps giving them sexual access to men who are better than what they can actually persuade into a relationship makes them think that. I think there's this is a genuine narrative of the manosphere, and I think there's something to it. I don't think it's just nonsense. Comes as no surprise that 15% of men have interact with an AI virtual partner. Yeah, but lots of women do as well. So, some 62% of men agreed that women have too many expectations of how men should be in relationships these days. Most surprisingly, nearly half of women agreed with that one. So, even women think, yeah, we're expecting too much of men. And it's honestly, it's going to be something along the lines of hypergamy, isn't it? It's going to be women who have got university degrees, whatever education levels, are selected for and promoted up the corporate ladder to decent paying jobs, sort of email daycare jobs, and they're looking around going, okay, I want a man who earns more than me, because biologically women are programmed to go for men who have more resources than them. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's you've actively disadvantaged men in the workplace and really narrowed the number of men who are available. And so, no kidding that 25% of men are like, I just don't think I can find a woman who wants to love me. And women are like, yeah, I think we might be expecting too much of men. And we wonder why everything is so screwed up. Now, this is mad, isn't it? This is absolutely mad that we have loaded society in this way. We've put our thumb on the scales and forced equality, and it's ruining everything. Possibly related to this messy disconnection, almost a quarter of young men admitted they actively sought out pornography that depicted strangulation or violent content. No idea. I don't think young people should have access to the internet. I mean, like, who knows? Anyway, Gary Barker, the psychologist who conducted the survey, says, the world of dating apps combined with porn, combined with I can't be interesting to a woman until having a high income, combined with men spending more time online and becoming socially isolated at higher rates than young women, I think we have a generation of young men who in some ways have atrophied relationship muscles. Listening to young men in the UK, we hear that some of that struggle leads to retreat. Well, again, it takes two to tango. Like, sorry, you have to concede that the nature of society, the fact that women are beginning to out-earn men now, that they're better educated than men now, has been a deliberate attack on men and their status in society as respectable pillars of the community and as breadwinners, as the kind of people that women will be attracted to. Like Jordan Peterson, he had this point right, that women need to worry about the kind of men that they want to actually date. And if we've allowed feminism to completely deform the society in which we live, well, women have got to either readjust their expectations and prepared to get like the female equivalent of sugar babies, be sugar daddies, or they just don't get relationships. Everyone is lonely and single. And once those generations have died out, I can only assume that whoever's left that's leading a reasonably traditional lifestyle will instruct their children. Yeah, listen, sons, you have to earn the money. Daughters, you want a man who's, you don't worry about earning money, right? You really do want to be a wife and mother. This chimes with many of the survey's other findings. When asked about the statement, no one cares if men are okay these days, 63% of men agreed, compared to 39% of women. Oh yes, 61% of women think that society somehow gives preference to men. Modern masculinity in Britain emerges as an absurdly chaotic bundle of contradictions. First, the good news. When asked to rank 18 traits that meant being a man, the results were touchingly wholesome. Top ranked in descending order for men and for women was being a friend, helping those who need it, and providing for the family. Right. That is wholesome. But the important ones there, of course, being a friend is just good for anyone. Helping those who need it, again, not really a gendered concern, but providing for the family, that is the man's job. Men thrive when they are given the responsibility to provide for others. This is why they do everything that they do. And taking that off of the shoulders of men has destroyed them. They actually want to be providers. I mean, that's why I work so much. I want to be a provider. I want to know that my family has everything they need, so they don't have to worry about it. So they can do, whatever it is they want to do. They can think about the things they want to think about, so they don't have to worry about this sort of stuff, because I've got it covered. And that's part of the raison d'etre of being a man. Ultimately, it is the raison d'etre of being a man. Being a friend and helping those who need it are just things that people should do. Those are not gendered concerns, but providing for the family is a gendered concern. And then the bottom four, these, at least people have rejected the sort of callous feminist stereotype of what a man is. Being in charge was the one of the bottom four ranked ones. Now, again, every relationship is a negotiation, but making lots of money, I suppose that's not the most important thing about being a man, but it does help. Managing conflict with violence. Who thinks that being a man is managing a conflict with violence and having many sexual partners, all of which rated higher for men than for women? Like, this is the sort of stereotype of Conan the Barbarian. Like, nobody really thinks that that's what it is to be a man. However, while men said the key part of their identity as men was being a good friend, they found this hard to put into practice. Some 59% of men agreed, I have to look out for myself and no one has my back, compared with the minority of women. Men were twice as likely as women to agree that men should figure out their problems on their own rather than ask for help. Now, this is a natural part of being a man. This is what Nora Vincent found was so depressing when she used makeup and whatnot to transform herself into a man and live as a man. She realized how lonely society felt compared to how lonely she felt when she was a woman. People will help women. Society is geared towards making sure women feel safe and secure. It is not geared to making men feel like they belong. And so I'm not surprised a lot of men are like, look, I have to look out for myself. No one has my back. And honestly, this is, I think, goes hand in hand with the decline of male-only spaces. Now, you remember the feminists got these abolished. So you can't have male-only clubs. You can't have male-only spaces. You can't have areas where it's only men who will deal with themselves and each other as men do. And so without those things, I do think that a lot of this is I have to look out for myself. No one has my back, because they don't have the social life to support that anymore. I don't think it exists anymore. And I think that, frankly, this was abolished regardless of the consequences on men. It's a contradiction. We know boys and men are crying out for that, but I think we have to take it as aspirational. We would like our men's clubs back. That's what it is. We would like our men's clubs back. We want spaces away from women. And there's nothing wrong with wanting spaces away from women. Women have spaces away from men, and they should have them. They're entitled to them. And this is why I agree with the TERFs. They absolutely should have spaces where men dressed as women can't go into them. But conversely, men should have those spaces where it's just men, so they can just be themselves and just relax, not feel judged. Anyway, the same goes for the mixed signals men get from women. When asked whether being a parent is the most important job in the world, 80% of men agreed, more than women. Yet, when presented the idea that men who are full-time fathers are not seen as real men, a third of women agreed, not far off the 42% of men. Well, I'm sorry, but this is just the nature of being a human. Women don't respect full-time fathers. They don't want to be the primary breadwinner. They don't want that. And everyone knows they don't want that. And there are loads of anecdotal stories on the internet where the woman will come home, see the husband just playing with the kids and doing housework and stuff, and just feel not attracted to him, feel resentful of him, feel resentful of the fact that he gets to play with the kids all day, where she's stuck out in the corporate environment. I've read loads of these over the years. And it's like, it's because this is unnatural, right? This is just frankly unnatural. And women don't find that attractive in a man. However, if a man comes home after making loads of money every day, and the woman with her kids and her house, suddenly he's an attractive prospect. Oh, he has been, bringing in the bread. Like, this gives him nobility and dignity that women find attractive. And so you can pretend that this is just, oh, well, we're all the same, really. No, that's not true. That is not true. Anyway, more women than men agreed that the media paint men in a negative light. 82% of women, 67% of men said that. However, overwhelming majorities of both say, yeah, the media paint men in a negative light. Representation, as the feminists told us, was important, and so they decided to represent men as bad, either incompetent or evil. That was the way that the media decided to represent men. It's like, how do we allow this? Why are we allowing the media to brainwash society into thinking that men are bad, either stupid or evil? Why are we allowing that? Why can we not have some kind of legislation that says, no, you have to fairly represent people? You can't just say men, you can't just have men represented in your adverts or whatever as bad, or on TV or whatever it is. We could do that. Like, if the media constantly represented women as either being dumb or sluts, then you better believe that things would change. They absolutely would change. Anyway, more women than men agreed that things are generally better when men earn the money and women take care of the kids. More women than men agreed things are generally better when men earn the money and women take care of the kids. I'm going to keep repeating it. More women than men agreed that things are generally better when men earn the money and women take care of the kids. More women agree with this statement. So why are we still a feminist society? Why are we still doing this? Men should earn the money and women should take care of the kids. Say women? More women than men agreed to the following statements, one of which was things are generally better when men earn the money. So why are we systemically disadvantaging men? Women don't want it, men don't want it, and it's why women don't find men attractive. Because there is a dignity that comes with being the provider that women are attracted to. It ennobles people. It makes men. Actually makes men into the sort of platonic form of a man that women tend to be attracted to. And why we've done everything we can to destroy this is it's pure liberalism, pure feminism, but we can move past it. Right? Women don't have to be super educated. They don't have to have super corporate jobs where they're just in adult daycare centers doing everything they can not to have children. Like, the entire work environment is designed to make it so that women don't have children. It's because they can get pregnant. And it's because then it's an extra burden on the corporation. So no wonder it's entirely within the remit of capitalism, if you're bothered about capitalism, to do this. And it's making everyone miserable. Anyway, meanwhile, it was 57% of men, twice as many as women, who felt, I feel a lot of pressure to look a certain way to be successful in the dating world. Well, I think that's due to the apps, isn't it? Right? You've got to look a certain way due to the apps. And women, a lot of the time, are attracted to men primarily not because of their looks, but that requires you to have been charismatic in her presence. That requires you, and I'm certain this is how I got my women, like throughout my life, like if you're not like super good looking, they've got high standards when it comes to looks, but if you make them feel good in other ways, as in you're funny, or you've just got a great presence around you or whatever, that makes her feel good, then not being the world's most handsome man is not actually the world's biggest drawback. However, if you're on a dating app, you don't have the opportunity to be charismatic in her presence, because she will just, swipe right or swipe left? I don't know. She'll swipe off of you, and you'll never actually meet her. Whereas in the real world, if you bumped into her in a bar and you made her laugh and blah, 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 she might actually be into you. So it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, you probably do feel a lot of pressure to look a certain way now. Men and women are swimming in the same water about these ideas about manhood. Young men will tell us women want a guy who looks a certain way as a breadwinner. We are very aware that for men in heterosexual relationships, there are huge expectations that can be quite traditional among women, even as women are telling us we don't want to depend on a man, and it's even unfashionable in some circles to say you have a boyfriend these days. We hear young men talk about how complex and difficult that is. Yeah, women have been totally polluted. Their minds have been polluted by feminism. Like, if women, right, have traditional expectations, and they think, as we were shown here, that things are generally better when men earn the money and women take care of the kids, and yet they're like, well, we don't want to depend on a man, and it's unfashionable to say you have a boyfriend, like, then no kidding that this is bad for not just men, but everyone else, but the society itself is falling apart. No wonder people are like, oh, more aligned with hard right online influencers. I guess they mean people like me, but well, they probably mean people like Andrew Tate. But, I guess I fall into that category these days. And men find their online social life more rewarding than real life. And it's just terrible. Like, men, of course, are more worried about having their reputations destroyed. And this is all just awful. And then when, this is confronted by, documentarian and reviewed in The Guardian by Lucy Manigan here. It's like, oh, Men of the Manosphere review, truly terrifying hour. But if you actually look at it, it's not terrifying. What it is like men who are like, yeah, I broke up out of a 5-year relationship that I thought we were going to end in marriage. And so I found myself looking for masculinity and a social area that I could deal with other men in rather than dealing with women. I was hurting. This content gave it a voice. 16-year-old Sam says he pays the one because he changed my life, taught me how to grow up. Well, that's the sort of thing that happens with the adult men around you if you're a younger man. Like if you and your dad went to a men's club or something, where you just sit down, have a beer and talk to the guys there, play pool, do darts, whatever it is, right? You would learn these things through contact with the other men around you. But if you're not getting this kind of contact, then if these social spaces just no longer exist, then yeah, young men are going to have trouble growing up. James, 22-year-old criminology graduate, found comfort in the red pill ideology after a breakup. Well, it's because who else is he going to talk to? Nice guys get nowhere. Well, that's something that women agree with. Jack says, no one's coming to save them. Men, in particular. So don't feel sorry for yourself. And that's true. No one is coming to save men. No one is coming to save men. A combination of confusion, contradiction, and loneliness. When Sam finally meets some of his online friends in the flesh, his joy is heartbreaking. Suffuses every interaction James has with these young men. It is clear that none of them are evil or anything close to it, but they are adrift in a world that is changing in ways that's easy for them to believe and not for the better and vulnerable to predators. Yeah, I think that this isn't changing for the better. I mean, look at you. Men of the Manosphere, a truly terrifying hour. But look at the conclusion. The conclusion is, oh my God, it's harrowing to see what society is doing to young men these days. And so it's just like, right, well, something's going to have to change. Women agree. Women agree that men should be the breadwinner. Women agree that things are better when they are. Women agree that men should be have some respect. And yet, the feminist proselytized ones don't have it in them to begin to trust men to take care of things, to take care of society, to take care of them, take care of society, to make sure that everything's provided for. They don't trust men to do this. I think that's what's causing this.